Hello and welcome to the Unstuck Club. We Time has flown by, and I feel
I
like
know.
we're like a little behind. Not that we are so fixed on time, but
Mhm.
it's been a while, Di. And I saw you in between. It's been a while. So,
Yeah, you did. March was literally a mad month. It, I mean, we didn't get to record. You were traveling, and I mean, even I'm working through Gretchen Rubin's The Happiness Project with a friend of mine here, and every month we get together and we decide what we are going to work on in the month, sort of kind of related to her process in the book, but obviously unique to us. And March is blank.
yeah.
We met on Tuesday to discuss April, and I said, "This is March, and there's not a thing written. I didn't work on anything. It seemed to be all over the place. And what I do love about our podcast is that we're not fixed on, oh, we need to record it
Yeah.
today. So if you've missed us, we do apologize, but we are back.
We missed you. We were together on the weekend, and then I literally like snuck into town.
Mhm.
And then you dropped me off on the Monday to catch the bus back, and then I was like, we didn't do the podcast.
Well, I know we were going to sit on the couch together, and
Yeah,
that just didn't happen, and that's okay. I
it was
think
so okay.
the way life is at the moment, you really just go with what's happening. I was
Yeah.
supposed to be a guest on Wednesday on a Facebook Live in a group. It's called the Midlife Experiment, and it's for women I think, over the age of 50. Do you think she could invite me? We tried every which way. She could invite anyone else watching. I sent an invite. Facebook would not let her bring me onto the chat. And what
Oh
we realized,
no.
we tried 3 times and then said, okay, this is not going to work. But I said to her, maybe this needs to be a bigger conversation than in your Facebook Live group. So we're actually going to do a webinar on
Yeah,
on grief and women in midlife,
yeah,
which is a
yeah.
kind of grief that I'd never thought of before. But we really it just would not let me onto the show. And sometimes you just have to surrender to
Yeah,
what is and go,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
not meant to happen. And the podcast wasn't meant to happen when you
yeah.
were here. But here we
It
are now.
Yeah, yeah. And it's actually it was my story for March. So I went away to meet up with a dear friend to have a birthday experience with her, which involved some travel and some camping and all different kinds of things. And I mean, not one thing panned out. Nothing panned out. Like it rained in the area for the first time in 4 years. It's not supposed to even rain over there. And it took a little bit of time to stop trying to figure out why it happened and then actually focus on, let's not worry so much about why it happened, and let's not try and get into this whole thing of what's the universe trying to tell us, because I actually don't believe that all the time the universe is trying to tell us something.
Mm,
you
mm.
know we I don't believe we are so powerful that we manage the weather,
Yeah,
you
no.
know, and it rains on that particular day because the universe is trying to send us a message. And we kind of shifted our headspace and got into this headspace of, let's decide the message that we want to get out of
Mhm,
it. Let's
mhm,
actually
mhm.
make a choice and
Yeah.
decide what we want to get out of it instead of waiting for something to, something profound or searching for messages. We actually turned it around. We were like, okay, it is what it is, you know, and what do we do from here? And we made the most out of, one day's travel, which was so beautiful. And yeah, actually turned it into something that we wanted it to be, instead of getting really stuck in. I think we've taken it to the extreme. This, what's the universe trying to tell me?
Yeah, yeah, I was
We
just gonna say, we get stuck in that, okay, what is the bigger, what is the deeper meaning of this? It's like, it's
Yeah,
raining and you can't camp. or you could
Yeah.
camp, but it'll be pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Do you, I think the thing is, do you sit there and bitch and moan because your plans have now been, scuppered, or do you go, okay, so what else can
Yeah.
we do? I mean, you were away for a birthday celebration.
Yeah.
So what else can we do to
Yeah.
make it special? And I do sometimes think these things do happen, and it is like a little test to see, like, just go, sometimes it's like water. When water flows, if it's like a stream and it meets an obstacle, it'll find a way to go around it or over it. It doesn't sit there waiting for the obstacle to move. It goes, okay, this way is blocked, and if
Mhm.
it finds another path, it begins to create another path. So it's quite a nice lesson.
Yeah. I love I love that. I love that analogy because we could have ended up. I mean, I could have been telling you such a different story and saying, "Oh, it was such a disappointing trip because what we initially had planned didn't pan out." Meanwhile, it was such an incredible trip. It was beautiful. We went into the Klein Karoo. I drove through um, 7 of the provinces across South Africa, and like it's Cosmos season.
Yeah.
We can get so lost in being frustrated and upset that we actually aren't even looking out the window and just staring that there are cosmos just blossoming
Yeah. Yeah.
everywhere, you
Yes.
know? So I'm proud of us for having turned that around actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, we actually it was so funny because we're like, what are we gonna talk about?
So there is something that's been coming up, not with me directly, but with clients I've been working with. Is one of them said to me the other day, I'm so tired of showing up fake. Like, I'm so scared to show the real me
Mm.
that I kind of adapt myself to be wherever I am. And it's getting tiring and it's getting exhausting. And
Yeah.
I know we have spoken before about being authentically you, but I do feel that we are being pushed to be that because there's so much inner um,
Mm.
discomfort at just not being
Yeah.
ourselves.
There's something I wanted to share with you, and I couldn't remember what I wanted to share, and the memory's been sparked. I was on social media, and there's this woman who did like just a short little reel, and she said she worked for, I think she said either Joe Dispenza or DeMartini, one of the two. I can't remember, right? And she said the reason why she was sharing this is because she was in the marketing part of it, and they selected the handful of people who had success stories, but actually she wanted to make it known that most of the people did not have success stories.
Really? Oh my goodness.
And it was so beautiful. I didn't press save, I didn't do anything. I just listened, I took it in, and then I moved
Mhm.
on to the next one. But I think that that's what we've been programmed to do, is we've been programmed to show the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what people are doing. Like there's so many people who are trying to be a success. There's so many people who are trying to be in a happy relationship or a healthy dynamic with themselves, or like all those
Mm,
different
mm.
layers. And no one's sharing the depth of their struggle that it took to get to where they are. They're
Yeah.
telling like this, we aren't seeing the behind the scenes. And now we have this false perception of what it's like to become some kind of version of yourself that you like, that you're proud of, that feels like success. And now we've got to overperform and only show the world a certain portion because it looks like everyone's got their shit together and they don't. So, in a room full of people, in all these people who have done the work and paid for the work, the
Yeah.
amount of people who actually had a success story to tell was a minimal amount of people.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is with a lot of these programs is they're very intense, which is great. I mean, I do have a couple of friends that go on, like, particularly his retreats, they do the work. But, when you read his one book, I mean, the processes that are needed to be done, like if you've got a serious illness or a terminal illness, it's hours. And that's fine if you can just lock yourself away for 6 months and completely focus on your own journey and your own healing. But we have families, we have jobs, we have friends, we have life. And I think that is, so yes, I suppose it would make sense that a few people who are absolutely committed. I mean, it's the same as people who start their own businesses. There are some that are
Yeah,
just, they will sleep in their cars, they will mortgage their house to the hilt.
yeah, yeah,
There are a small percentage of people, if you think of the Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, and people like that, they're absolutely committed to making it work.
absolutely.
So that's really interesting. I had no
You know,
idea.
mm, and that's why, like, so I've got the radical self awareness group, right? And
Mm,
that's, I put in, I'm constantly putting things in the group. And it's subscription based. And the reason why it's subscription based is that my intention is that you stay for a year. And then after you're in there
mm,
for a year, then you are honorary and you just continue to stay. The reason why I do it that way is because I'm trying to get people to understand that self awareness is not something that happens when you set time aside. You
mm,
need to learn to live self aware. Like today in numerology, it's the 4th of the 4th, and it is an 8 energy in numerology. I'm going to put a post in, but what I'm trying to do is I'm not putting a numerology post in every single day and saying today is a 8, today, the next day is a 2.
mm.
I'm trying to spark that awareness within the people that I work with, that you wake up in the morning, you look at the numbers and you go, oh, today's a 4 day. The focus
Yeah.
is within who I am. The focus needs to be what makes me feel a little unsettled today. So in an 8 day, energetically, what could possibly be where could I be possibly giving my power away today? Or what could I
Mm,
do that empowers me today? And for me, a lot of the problem with these being in a program is that there's so much about setting time aside and things are as an exercise instead of incorporating self-awareness into your living and into your
mm,
being and
mm.
into your existence. Like one of the
Yeah.
things that I make so clear because you get your personality blueprint, you get your numerology blueprint. One of the things I make so clear is it's not for you to sit down and study that. There's certain times when you'll pull into that, when you'll go, this happened today. It completely dysregulated me emotionally,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, and then to
mm.
say, "Joe, this completely derailed me emotionally. Where do I look in my profile to see what it is?" Instead of this other, take your profile, study this. And that for me is concerning.
Mm.
It we shouldn't even be setting time aside to do gratitude work. We
Yeah.
should we should be grateful in the moment, because then when the thing happens, then you are emotionally and energetically aligned in the moment.
Mm.
And I know you and I spoke about this when we were together, because the only thing we need to be doing is saying to the universe, which is ourselves anyway, right?
Yeah.
More of this
Yeah.
feeling, this exact feeling, or this exact thing that I'm doing, more of this. This is what's
Yeah.
bringing me so much joy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I feel a lot of these things don't work, is because it's so exercise driven, it's so process driven,
Mm.
and it's not actually teaching you how to live consciously, be in the present moment, be self-aware, live consciously and
Mm.
with awareness.
And then when you do that, then it's easier to show up authentically, because then if you get asked to be involved in something or do something, you can actually go, is this really what I want to give my energy to at the moment?
Yeah.
You know, do I have the capacity for this at the moment? I moved an appointment with a client on Tuesday because the day was just spiraling. It was month end. I needed to get a whole lot of month end stuff done. We'd had 24 hours without power from the storm on Sunday night when you were here. And I just said to her, I cannot give you the energy and the attention and the care that you need at the moment. I'm so distracted. And we shifted it. And it was like such a relief. And sometimes it is, you know, we have to be honest and say, this doesn't work for me. And,
Yeah.
but we don't, you know, you get another invite to something. Oh yeah, I'll be there. But inside you're like, oh, you know, all my body wants is to curl up on the couch and just zone out for a while. And you know, it's really important to do that. You know, it's this thing of like, well, you must be exercising. You know, the Robin Sharma and his 20 meditate and exercise and journal. And I think for a lot of people, it's just becoming another thing on an ever-growing
Yeah,
to-do list. And we
absolutely.
should not be on a to-do list. I'm sorry, because it loses importance. It's like checking in with yourself, not going, oh,
Mm,
okay, I need to do this now for
mm,
20 minutes. It's like I just
mm.
want to lie on my bed and look out the window at the leaves and the clouds and the sunset or the sunrise or whatever it is. Like check in with yourself before you follow, you know, these set guidelines, because everyone, and I'm not knocking any of these teachings, depending on where you are in your life, they can be incredibly supportive. I think the danger for me, I feel, comes in when that's the way you live your life with
Yeah.
no real thought yourself as, do I really want to do this now?
And so my thing is, like if you say I can sit and I'm meditating for an hour, I've put a meditation aside, right? I've put time
Mm,
aside and I'm meditating. That's amazing. But when you were driving and when you were cooking and when you
mm,
were doing all the things that are the daily going through life, how conscious and how
mm,
aware were you?
mm,
And
mm,
that's my thing. To this we've been like programmed. Pull your attention in, gift yourself with a moment in time, right? But our life is just this from every moment to the next. We have we have the ability to literally live in meditation.
yeah, we do.
That everything is meditation. When I love to drive in silence because then I'm taking so many things in, or I'm
Mm,
very conscious when I cook. I'm very aware when I cook.
mm,
And I can
mm,
tell you so many of the different things, like when I make a cup of tea and I add cinnamon to the tea. When I'm adding the cinnamon, I've taken some time to research and go, what does cinnamon do in your body? What is it good
mm,
for?
mm,
That's such a beautiful form of meditation. And
mm.
so many people say to me, I don't have time to meditate. I'm like, but you don't have to be meditating. If you learn how to take your daily life and turn it into conscious awareness, you are meditating.
Yeah, I've had several people in the last week or so say to me they are struggling to sit and meditate. And I think there is this misconception. You go sit on a cushion, cross legged, and meditate. So, my friend who owns the farm where I live, I mean, she's so connected to the earth. She absolutely is passionate about the environment. And she was saying when we met on Tuesday that she's struggling to kind of, go quiet, meditate and that at the moment. There's just so much happening. And I said, but I watch you walking around the farm and you are so present and you are so engaged with life and nature and you're right there. And that in itself is a meditation. She's like you. She cooks with absolute love. She's Italian. She's passionate about feeding people. The love that comes through, that is a meditation in itself. It's when you're so focused and present on something. And we are so distracted at the, now with devices and everything else that's going on, that yes, it is a challenge. But, even sitting down with blank paper and paints and just making marks on paper, if you're consciously doing it, that is a form of meditation.
Completely. Completely. I uh, I can in the middle of the day, I'm so grateful and I have created the life that I want that I can take some time out in the middle of the day. I will kick off my shoes. I will go and walk, just walk in the garden. I've and I'm aware I can feel the grass under my feet. I can feel the sun on my face. My sister lives on one of the busiest roads in Johannesburg. There is constant traffic. I
Mm.
let it, I let it blend in. We have the sweetest cat that just follows you around wherever you go. And there's nothing. I stop to sleep or to nap. You know how much I love my
Mhm.
naps. Like
Yeah,
I love my
me
naps.
too.
I have music in my ears. I pay attention to song lyrics. I mean, people who write songs they are for me they are philosophers and they are teachers and they are guides and we don't listen to the song words enough. We don't. And those are the kind of things that I do. And if someone had to say to me, "Do you meditate?" I would say I absolutely meditate, but if they had to describe meditation the way that we are told to meditate, it would
Mm.
come across that I never meditate.
Okay. I think there's you know what? I think there's a lot of things that are changing in the world, the way we do things. And I know that you've spoken before about the old ways of
Yeah.
doing things. I think one of the most powerful statements that I heard or read was that the universe doesn't operate in words, it operates in feelings.
In
And that
energy.
in energy, which and feelings are energy and emotions are energy. And it's really shifted the way I do
Hmm.
things. But I think there are a lot of ways. I mean, I've just had a huge declutter of paperwork. I can't tell you how many downloaded workbooks I had sitting here um, over the years. Beautiful stuff and all the neatly filled in exercises. And I look at it now and I'm like, that doesn't work for me
Yeah.
any longer. And I think it's really, going back to the topic of being authentic, it's really
Yeah.
looking and being honest and going,
Mm.
why am I signing up for this course? Like,
Yep.
what am I actually looking for? And is it going to give it to me? Because I've also heard a couple of friends saying how much money they have wasted spending thousands on courses that promised abundance, promised, seven-figure businesses in a couple of months, none of which came to fruition. If someone had that magic recipe for all of this, we would all be, happy and wealthy and living the life. So there's definitely a shift. I think we're being pushed actually in a lot of ways. And very often it is the challenging situations to go within and go like, is this really working for me?
Mm.
Is this really what I want? Or is it time to face
Mm.
reality and go, I'm done. It's
Yeah.
time to move on.
When I put together the pricing for the group, I calculated, okay, I have so many cups of coffee when I'm out, right?
Mm.
And I am not going to figure out how to make sushi. Thank you very much. I will do many things, but that is not one of them. And I kind of totaled it up. I was like a sushi out, a glass of wine when I'm out for dinner, and my cups of coffee, and I don't bat an eyelid when I spend that.
Mm.
And that was the benchmark that I created for the
Okay.
amount. And
Yeah.
that's what I tell everyone is that I see some I saw a money course once, a money course. Someone who is saying, I have the formula to help you have a better relationship with money. The cost of the course was astronomical,
Mm. Mm.
unaffordable. A lot of these courses, it is a lot of these courses are like, these people who need you do not have the money
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be absolutely transparent and say that I've had some people say to me, what are you saying to the universe with the small amount that you charge? I mean, when I do my webinars, it's literally equivalent to a cup of coffee
Mm. Mm.
or to getting just a takeout. And I love the messaging that I'm giving to the universe. And I love the way that I'm doing it because I'm saying, it's look at what you're doing every day where you don't bat an eyelid with what you're spending, right?
Yeah.
And then say to yourself, couldn't I take some of that money and give myself the gift of having a better relationship with myself
Yeah.
instead of having to? We know people who've taken out home loans, who've taken out loans
Yeah. Yeah.
to do work,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
taken out
And
credit cards. I know someone
Mhm.
who got a credit card in order to do this dream workshop that she wanted to do.
Mm. And the thing is with all of a lot of those as well is yes, you do it and you might learn the stuff, but then you have to go and apply it. Or you have to do the selling yourself. And that's a whole other level. It's like everyone is like they're looking for something, but they're just not looking in the right place. And it reminds me of that wonderful story about I can't remember, it's about God. And it's like, where should I hide myself? Something like that. I'm sure someone who's listening is going to know the actual story. But, he said, oh, I'll put it at the bottom of the ocean, but they'll find it and everything. And then he goes, I'll put it in the one place they won't look, which is in their
In
heart, inside.
yeah,
And it was just, and it is so true. And I mean, everybody is jumping on the bandwagon now with all kinds of courses. And people are so desperate that they're just signing up left, right, and center, and then realizing
exactly,
in a few months' time, like, this is not
exactly.
for me. Like, this is not going to work. There isn't a magic pill. We wish there was. So I,
I can't claim it as my own, but the most important thing that has ever been said in human existence is know thyself.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
There is that is what it is all it's what it's all about. It's what it's all about. You know, if you want a better relationship with other people, work on your relationship with yourself. Because then, when you get to this place of self love and self worth and self
Mm.
respect, then when you will witness how other people treat you, and then you will go, hang on one second, this is not who I have grown to be. This is not who I've grown to become. I have
Mm.
grown to
Mm.
love myself, respect myself, understand myself. We get told by so many other people, this is the way that you behave. You hurt me. This is a very important statement. We are not so powerful that we can hurt anyone. Someone needs to choose to feel
Mm.
hurt.
Mm.
As long as we know that we are in our truth, we are standing within our integrity, and we can own the choice and the decision that we've made, then but you've got to really trust yourself to be able to make that decision, and then anchor holding on to that decision, because it's coming from a place of, this is how I love and value myself.
Mm.
And
I
we're
always
so focused on the routines and not, is this a form of self-love?
tell people, you don't have buttons that people can push. You
Yeah.
don't have a button on your forehead. I can't walk up to you, Joe, and make you angry if you choose not to be angry. So this thing of like, oh, he pushes my buttons, she pushes my buttons, you are
No.
allowing yourself to be triggered or reacting. You can also choose differently. And that beautiful quote by Viktor Frankl, like, there's that space between the external event or the stimulus and your response. And in that space, that gap, lies your power to choose.
And
So
we're saying it with so much compassion, because there are things that have been done to each and every one of us that
yeah,
has been cruel, and that has been unkind, and that has genuinely damaged our esteem, or genuinely made
yeah,
us feel insecure, all those kind of things. But it's this, how do you learn to love yourself in order to
yeah,
take your power back?
yeah.
That's the biggest thing. That's
That
the
was
big
my
thing.
that was my exact conversation with a client who has had a really traumatic childhood, and through our work together is beginning to see how that is impacting how he responds in the world, which is absolutely normal. But he's also now learning that he can choose differently, that he's
Yeah.
not that child any longer. So our work now together energetically is to work on the healing of
Yes.
that child, but just that new awareness that there's nothing wrong with him. He's not actually less than. It's not that he doesn't have value. The circumstances, children from the age of birth to 7, that's such a powerful
No. Yeah.
foundational point. So if you've had traumatic experiences, they are absolutely sitting in your body. And that self-awareness that you spoke about is that beginning of that journey to go, that was how I came into the world, my early years. I don't have to be like that now.
Yeah.
I can learn, I can heal, I can grow. That's the self-awareness. And it's an inside job. It's a hard, powerful,
Mm.
exciting, terrifying journey. But that's the journey we all came here
Yeah.
to experience.
And the misconception for me is that there's so much to do to heal or to become a better version of yourself. Meanwhile, the greatest doing is just in telling yourself the truth.
Yeah,
The greatest doing is in acknowledging, telling yourself the truth, and then so much of the pieces unfold.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's such a beautiful place to end, right?
Yes, I think so too. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I love how
yeah,
this goes and how we just weave through all these
yeah,
layers.
stories, yeah. But yeah, to everyone listening, you've got this.
Yeah.
You've got this, and you can reach out to us as well if you
Yeah,
really are struggling to cope, because there
absolutely.
is a lot of struggle at the moment.
And we work together. We refer
Yeah,
people backwards and forwards, and that we are doing this to support you in any way. But there is other really personalized work
yeah,
that we both do that's
yeah,
really here
yeah.
to help you become the best version of yourself.
Right.
Good. Okay. With that,
So
goodbye.
we will see you next time. Bye.